Confessions. Jessica. Part 1. An Unwritten Hollow production.
I could see him following. He thought I was drunk. Yes, I had been drinking, but I was far from unaware of my surroundings. The cold early morning air caused my clothes to cling to me tightly. I wished I'd brought a jacket. I wasn't supposed to have stayed as long as I had. Just go in, one drink to be polite, then gone. But time had run away from me, and I had lost track of it. Funny how you can get lost in the mundanity of office gossip, telling stories of weird colleagues and creepy managers who are weirder still. All of us fueled to spill our innermost secrets by cheap, and more importantly, free, acidic white wine that caused us to wince as if our eyes were being pulled to the backs of our heads. My thin shirt and trousers, even aided by the few glasses of that cheap swill, were hardly keeping the chill from sending shivers like electric shocks through my body. Once I had made my apologies and escaped the intoxicated gaggle of colleagues that begged me to stay for just one more, just a small one, I was gone, and out into the half-light of the stirring world outside. The air outside slapped the cheap plonk from my head, as if I'd had a glass of water thrown over my face. The fog of cigarette smoke hung lifeless in the air just past the door and weaseled its way into my nostrils as I walked through it, its long grey tendrils creeping down my throat and into my lungs. That's when I saw him the first time. Cigarette in his right hand, leaning against the tree by the wall, his head down and face illuminated by the glow of the phone he was aimlessly scrolling through. He was an unremarkable man. Short cropped hair, the tailored pale blue shirt slightly bulging around the waist, the tailoring and buttons doing their best to contain a more recent diet of alcohol and takeaways, and less frequent trips to the gym. I recognized him as that guy from accounts, sure of himself, bragging about how much money he made, driving an overpriced sports car that we knew he had secretly got on tick and was only just managing to make the payments each month. On the surface, gruff, arrogant, self-confident. Scratch that a little, though. That arrogance was replaced by anxiety and fear of being discovered for the fraud he was. Sad, really. I felt his gaze look up from his screen as I passed, although his head did not move. The beep of the door as it closed behind me and the click of my shoes along the path to the pavement beyond alerted him to the fact he was no longer alone out here. He would be again soon, though, or so I told myself. As I turned to walk up along the road and away from the building, I saw him in the corner of my eye begin to move towards the door. As if, addiction sated for now, he was returning to the pissed-up proles inside. The door, however, never made a sound. The world remained quiet except for the click-clack of my shoes along the pavement. Initially, I ignored that weird feeling in my gut and wrote it off as having had one too many on top of an empty stomach. But the feeling persisted. The feeling you get when you know you're being watched. I was being watched. He had followed me down the road, keeping his distance just enough that it could be chalked up to coincidence. The station was this way, after all. I crossed the road and turned into the shortcut I knew would take me to the main road, and then eventually, home.